me something, Uncle Money?
Now, on a more lighter topic, you do something, you introduce, they call it twerking into therapy. Um,
Mhm.
what is that? Let's pretend like somebody is interested in it. How would you tell them, okay, well, this is the benefits, this is the kind of the process, like introduce somebody to the movement of your hips, the value of it. Share with us.
Okay, so for those who don't know, twerking is a dance style that comes from like Black and Caribbean folks, and it's very hip and centric or hip and butt centric, right? So a lot of shaking your butt, moving your hips. It's really a leg workout. A lot of people think it's just like just the butt. Um, it's your legs really. It's just the whole lower half, right? They're working. But it does require a lot of mobility and movement of the hips to get your butt to move. And that is really important and really helpful when trying to heal trauma because a lot of trauma is stored in our hips. When we get stressed out or traumatized, we have particular muscles, our psoas is one of the main ones, that tighten because it prepares to run away, like running from a tiger or to freeze. And so it tightens. If we don't release that trauma, it stays tight. And so this is also exacerbated by the fact that a lot of people sit um, all the time. Like we don't really move our hips as a society. There's a lot of shame and sexualization and stigma around like hip movement. So all of those muscles get really stiff and tighten up. And the body works bidirectionally. So even if your hips are only stiff because you're sitting a whole bunch, your body will process that as, oh, you must be in danger because those muscles are stiff and we make the muscles stiff when we're in danger. So you must be in danger. So to tell your body you're not in danger, it's really helpful to loosen up those hip muscles and gain mobility, some strength, some flexibility. And so twerking is a really fun way to do that. You're moving to music, it's rhythmic, and those have their own like separate benefits for mental health. But it's a fun way that often with friends as well, you can start to learn how to move your hips, loosen up those muscles. And so when I'm doing that with clients, kind of the first thing we'll start with is just like a pelvic tuck and tilt. So if you're standing up, trying to get your the front of your pelvic bone closer to your forehead, and then tilting it back so the top of your tailbone is trying to get towards the back of your head. And so you get this back and forth motion going, and even that, starting to find that wiggle room and
Yeah.
increase that wiggle room can really help the body start to let go of some of the trauma that it's holding on.
So, how often should someone move their tailbone? Should it be something like, once a day, once a week? Is it different for different people? Like, if you're recommending a treatment process of movement, how often are you telling people to move around?
Well, that depends on what your goals are and where you currently are with things, of course. But I would say as much as you can. Um, as much as feels good. So if you sit at a desk all day, every time you go to get up and grab some water or go use the bathroom, that's a good time to do a little shimmy, do a little wiggle, right? Because you've just been sitting in a sedentary position for a long period of time. It's like when we get up from the bed, we stretch our body out. It feels good. So when we get up from sitting, it feels really good. It can feel really good to move our hips. So just you don't think of how many times do you do a nice little stretch throughout the day? How many times do you need to do that? Right? You do it when it feels good.
Yeah.
Um, and if you do it more often throughout the day, it might feel better.
Now, help folks separate the sexualization of moving your hips, versus the actual, this is a thing that is good for you. Like, should we separate it, or should it be the same thing? See yourself as one whole person? What do you think about that?
Oh, whew, that is a big question. Um, the I think that we can't really separate them because one, we are one whole person, and two, it's just a reality that we live in a world that when we move our hips, especially in front of other people, we have the opportunity to be sexualized. Is that right or wrong, good or bad? It doesn't actually matter because it's what's happening, right? So we do need to be aware that that is a reality. So if you go to the grocery store and you feel stressed out and you start shaking your hips, like, and you get some weird looks from the creeper down the aisle, like I don't, that's probably not going to actually make you feel more safe and make your body feel less stressed out. So we do need to take in safety and environment into account when we're talking about these things. But on the other end of the spectrum, let's be more sexual, right? We are sexual beings. It is okay to embrace our sexuality. If you know how to move your hips, I can guarantee you, you're going to enjoy your sexuality way more. It's better for everyone involved. And so, again, there's a lot of reasons why people are not doing that, and a lot of it's
Mhm.
based in trauma of like sexual trauma or shame. Um, and I think for holistic healing and living a full holistic life, like that includes sexual health.
Gotcha. That makes sense. If you've been inspired to leverage your practice to create financial freedom, please schedule a consultation with Diesel Wealth Management. The legacy you dreamed of is a 15-minute phone call away from becoming a reality.
The more I know, the more money I can make.